What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Hook It Podcast. This episode is once again supported by 35bikes.com. 35 Bikes are dedicated to bringing you the best bike components for the best prices. So if you're in the need for some new brake pads, brake rotors, mud guards, we even do custom mud guards and also custom stem caps. Head over to 35bikes.com or go to your local bike shop and simply ask for 35 Bikes products. It's that simple. Also, 35bikes.com, if you enter the promo code podcast, you'll get 20% off your entire order and also be able to take advantage of free shipping. Boom. This episode is also supported by, literally supported by, Saxx Underwear. Saxx make the best underwear on planet Earth. They're used by guys like Ken Block, Danny Hart, Brooke McDonald, pro surfers, skaters. The list just goes on and on and on. In fact, I had one customer in their shop window describe Saxx Underwear as like a sports bra for your veg. Who doesn't want to have a sports bra for the veg? Find me a man who doesn't, and I'll show you a liar. Head to saxxunderwear.com for more information, or go to your local bike, hike, run store and simply ask for Saxx Underwear. That's it. Right. Let's get on with this podcast.
Hi, I'm Ollie Wilkins, and this is the Hook It Podcast. Hold tight, freshers. Okay.
All right. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Hook It Podcast. A nice chilled out start. That song is by our friends at One Free Ride. It's called So Alive. It's available on Spotify and iTunes, and it's the same band that we used for the Danny Macaskill episode a little while ago. So anyway, welcome back to another episode. If you're a new listener, then welcome. If you've been around for a while, then thank you for continuing to come back and supporting the podcast. It's in an awesome spot at the minute. So thank you to each and every one of you. If you do enjoy this episode and you're new, head over to iTunes, leave a little review, try and make it a little funny if you can, and yeah, it helps massively. So please do that. It's been a crazy week, if I'm honest, at Hook It. We've had to make a business decision which has been slightly demoralising at times. It's been obviously, strange and troubling, but we're here, chin up, shoulders back. Time to have some fun with Martin Söderström. It's also a massive weekend, I guess, for mountain biking. Tomorrow, or I guess if you listen to this in the future, Friday the 13th is the Gamble film premiere in Sheffield. So if you're going there, please come over and say hello. That's the film that Joe Bowman from Steel City Media and Mono at Creative Concepts have made. Looking forward to the premiere of that tomorrow night. And we've also got Dirt's biggest slice of pie, British pie, dirty pie, whatever. That drops tomorrow too. And if you want to play some fantasy downhill, I've set up a league on Pink Bike. So go to Pink Bike, register to play fantasy downhill and find our league. It's the Hook It Podcast. And the password for it is podcast when it asks you. So get in there. We're going to be doing prizes throughout the season. We're going to add in some cool stuff in there too, having a bit of banter. So do that. And that's about it. Let's just get on with this episode, dudes. Welcome to the show, Martin Söderström. Tjena. We're recording.
Tjena. Do it all in Swedish. That makes it.
I have a little
for me.
I have a very, 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 very small amount of Swedish. I can say like tjena, laget.
Oh man, you're killing it though.
I know. I spent a lot of time in Sweden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I used to have a business selling like you call them. I think it's a cross bus, so like a motorhome, right?
Yeah.
I used to make those. I had a company in Poland, but most of our sales were done in Sweden. So I used to live in Osterud.
Östersund.
No, Osterud. No, Osterud, which is Norrköping.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I see.
So
wow.
I know.
All about it. Then I don't know if I can add anything more to this
all right,
podcast.
let's close it.
Yeah, exactly. We're done.
We're done. I love Sweden, man. I miss that place. We, me and my girlfriend try and go like, at least once a year for a little holiday and stuff. Still kind of really want to get a summer house in Sweden because, I love it there. Absolutely love it.
It is not bad. I mean, as long as you're here during either like the summertime or the wintertime, then it's really nice. The seasons in between it's pretty depressing. It's very dark and you have to be mentally strong to survive a full year in Sweden, I would say.
Are you still in Uppsala? Is that right?
Actually not.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend live in Stockholm now.
Oh, nice.
So the move to the capital, which is huge change, as everyone knows. It's especially when you're a bike rider.
Yeah, I bet.
Big cities are kind of like
a bit scary.
Yeah, a bit scary. Just activities takes way more time. Yeah. But at least Stockholm is really cool that it's like you have the kind of city life, and then it's very close to the forests and the woods to go bike riding. So I actually can't complain that much.
It's a beautiful place. I think probably one of my favorite cities. I think Stockholm. I absolutely love it there.
Thank you.
I spent a lot of time sort of like driving around Sweden. I used to do a friend of mine used to race ice speedway, which ice race, which I think is the most ridiculous sport on earth.
It is.
Oh, it's a total waste of time. 100% waste of time. The whole thing.
For sure.
You drive for 12 hours to like the north of Sweden. It's minus 30 degrees, and then you do like 4 laps of a track and pretty much drive straight home afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you feel like mountain biking is the shittiest sport in the world, but then when you look around, you see that
there's way worse.
There are worse sports.
Oh man. So so tell me about like growing up in Sweden. You've always obviously lived in Sweden. I'm guessing you didn't come from anywhere else before.
No, exactly. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm probably as Swedish as it gets. Tall, blonde, shy.
Really?
I think all the listeners are gonna fall asleep if I tell them about my first 11 years, because it's very, very average. It's nothing fancy. Just living in a house with my parents and my dog, and did all the things that all my friends did. So I was playing football or soccer, and actually had a fairly successful career in table tennis. It's not something that I talk very loudly about, but I was a bit of a talent there.
Really?
But, it was a big move. Let's say that
it's totally different. From table tennis to tabletops, right?
Oh, there you go.
You can have that one for free, dude. That's yours.
Thank you. So that was crazy. Wow. How the bike riding just came in and swept me off my feet.
Yeah,
literally a couple of times. Yeah.
Do you remember do you remember when you first saw mountain biking, and was there much of a scene, because you did grow up in Uppsala, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, even if I'm not that old, in the scene I feel like I'm still, since the slopestyle and kind of freeride scene is very young still, then I feel like, I mean, I was lucky that there was a sport. So but if I start from the beginning, we have I live outside of Uppsala, and here we have a really tiny bike shop. And for some reason I went down there to fix a puncture or something, and then I saw this B1 Sydney model. It was for the Olympics, the cross country Olympics in Sydney 2000,
right?
And just fell in love, looking up on that bike for probably I mean, it felt like 10 years, but it was
Really?
probably like, oh, anyway. Yeah. And then just went home nagging to my parents about proper bike. And then for Christmas one year, I was super, super pissed because I didn't get any cool stuff. And then
Just a table tennis bat.
yeah. They were like, yeah, go down and look in the, oh yeah, obviously the sauna, because we're in Sweden.
Yeah.
So it was down in the sauna. And there was the bike. So that's...
Really? And was it that exact one you wanted too?
Exactly.
Wow.
The B1 Sydney. So that was the first bike. That's, I remember it like yesterday,
Really?
almost.
That's rad.
Yeah. Yeah, and then my neighbors, actually just around that time, my neighbor, who's 5 years older, started to ride with his friends, and we're talking about this really cool thing called free ride, and I wasn't too convinced there in the beginning because I was, coming from soccer and table tennis, I was maybe more thinking about cross country or something, but. They seemed convinced that it was a cool sport. Okay. So, and found a mule disorder, and we found cranked, and here we are.
Yeah. Fast forward.
No, but it, I mean, I think every pro rider can probably agree that the first 5 years of the career is always kind of the best.
Yeah.
That, I mean, we did barely know it was a sport. We just called each other up like all of the summer break, like 8:00 in the morning, just because we were so scared that we wouldn't be able to ride enough before it got dark, and we had to come home because
Right.
our parents let us to be out that long. Yeah.
And what sort of riding were you doing then? Just like around town and, well, obviously in the forest and stuff.
I don't even know how we could spend that much time doing so
It's
little.
Pretty flat.
Exactly. No. So, I mean, we went out and riding on curbs, we spent a lot of time drinking soda bowls and then like jumping, either bunny hopping over them or landing on them. That was, wasted a lot of money. If I just went to the recycle, I could probably have made a decent amount, but now we just had. It's actually really fun to do this memory lane trip.
Yeah, it is. It can be. I think it was really funny because like the last episode was with Geordie Lunn, and we spoke loads about like growing up and his family and like traveling and stuff like that. And he messaged me after, was like, dude, that was so cool to just like sit and like reminisce and just like, you know, my dad messaged me because he's listened to it and all this sort of cool stuff. It can be kind of cool, like just to think back about like how this crazy shit all started, you know.
Exactly. And you really start to, I mean, now when I'm getting a little bit older, I start to appreciate it more as well, to like call my friends up that I was riding with back then and hang out a little bit, because I mean, there's definitely something that you want to relive, kind of.
For sure.
Because it's so nice.
Well, obviously, if it kind of wasn't for those guys too, like who knows where you could be right now, you know?
That's the thing, exactly. Yeah.
That one little decision that somebody else made who told you, and then, you know, and look at this crazy life you've got to leave, you know, like since then.
No, totally. And I mean, without them, there's no way in hell that I would be where I am. I mean, if that's what I would say is the biggest struggle for many people. I mean, finding a hobby is fairly easy and fun, but then find people that are as into it as you. I feel like that's where most of the people fall out of sports, because they don't have friends that do the same. Maybe they buy mopeds or go meet girls or whatever. Like, there's so many other things to do, and then it just kind of gets less and less. I mean,
there's certainly that like age, isn't there? Like 16 years old, where you know you start finding girls and like, you know, cars or whatever, and it's
there's there's just us nerds that stick to the bikes.
Yeah, for sure. So, what sort of like? No, sorry. Actually, do the guys that you used to ride with then? Do those guys still ride, or did they give it up too?
Actually, one of them still rides, so that's really cool. So I try to hit him up every now and then, and we, just go out riding and actually do most talking about old times, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool to still hang out with them, and then I feel like the little kid again that I was back then. So it's good that they put me back on the spot.
I was reading earlier that you race some forecross too then before the whole slopestyle thing started to really kick off for you.
I mean, that's I don't know, that's pretty fast forward though, like quite far. I actually was super serious before this because I was a little bit nervous before this podcast, so I actually drew down everything.
Really? And wow.
I realized it's a couple of pages here. Shit. So we have to get on it, man.
Dude, you're prepared. I love this stuff. Awesome. You're gonna have to send me these photos after so we can share them.
So now I've just done a check on the first thing, 2001 first bike. That's the only. So now we have 3 pages to go.
Oh, let's do it. This is amazing. Dude, thanks so much. That's crazy.
Then after that I wrote 2002 to 2004. I just basically wrote full on mountain bike nerd years, biking 24/7, only watching like the pro mountain bike films, and just living, eating everything mountain bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just quickly though. So obviously one of the problems must have been living in Sweden, and I guess you get asked this all the time, so I'm really sorry, but the winter's pretty brutal in Sweden. You know, obviously you guys are super geared up for it. Nothing really stops. Like here in the UK, like we have a little bit of snow, and like the country just goes on lockdown. But Sweden, things sort of keep going, but you can't really ride. So what did you do in those months to fill the gap?
Actually, we were pretty lucky there because in like 2003, I think we were pretty like one of the first cities in Sweden to get a skate park. So and that explains a lot.
Yeah, indoor, obviously.
Exactly, of my riding style as well, because that was basically all we did from 2003 until for a while. My mom was so upset because it cost like €2 to get in, and I went there every day.
To be fair though, that's super cheap for things in Sweden. You can't. Can you even buy a packet of chewing gum for €2 anymore in Sweden?
No.
No way.
Yeah, nothing. So maybe at IKEA you can find something, probably.
Maybe one meatball or something like that.
Exactly, but that's pretty much everything.
Okay.
And then and then I wrote in 2005, discovered dirt jumping, slopestyle, and some contests in Sweden.
Right.
And I mean, that was kind of an eye-opener because before that I was, as I told you, we were only out kind of riding by ourselves and doing a couple of small like free ride events there, but it was very, many people know how it was back then, really, really, really casual and just building North Shore in the middle of nowhere. And it was, like as far away from crowds and everything that could possibly get.
But that can be kind of cool though, like, you know, just sort of, you know, honing your skills and chilling with your friends and building stuff and not being like too influenced by everyone else's stuff.
Exactly. No, that was, I feel like, as I said, that was probably the best years where you just completely 100% did it because of passion and nothing else.
Yeah.
But then as I said, 2005 was when I discovered competing, and that's, I think, where I got really hooked because I've always been a very competitive guy and always, I don't know if I like competing or winning or showing off in front of a crowd or something. I mean, everyone kind of does, I guess. I mean, we're all, in the end, we're all small kids that like to be appreciated for
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
when we do
Especially
stuff, I guess.
if you are getting quite good at something, you want to show everybody, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It sounds sad, but
but
like that.
it's human nature. You get good at stuff
We're
and you
all
peacock. It's like it's normal.
exactly. We're all grown up kids.
Yeah, we are. Hopefully.
Yeah, and that's when like probably not that many people heard about Michael Baumstam, but he was like very, very early with like to kind of put slopestyle and dirt jumping on the map for Sweden. He did, I think, I'm pretty sure he was one of the first ones in the world to try double flips, and like was very early with flip whips and flip no-handers and all that stuff. So I think that was really important for me. And that's at that time I also met Linus Sjöholm and John Alm Högman, who was like, it was kind of the three of us who was always riding together and kind of turned pro at the same time. So I think it was really important for us that he kind of took us under his arms and like showed us around, drove us around in Sweden. And so that's pretty much all we did in 2005, living out of a van, basically going to all the places in Sweden. Cool. Yeah.
And when you say places in Sweden, I mean, you know, obviously the riding scene's changed a lot over the last few years, but you know, where were you going? You know, like...
that's a great question. I mean, that's the funny part looking back at it now, how much you traveled for so little. People, I mean, the kids today don't understand how spoiled they are when it comes to like jump parks and everything. Because we probably traveled like 200K to go to a small mulch jump.
Really? Shit.
Like, 200K to go to Linus' backyard, which was like one sand jump. So it was a lot of driving in that old van. But luckily Michael had a driver license, so
wow,
that was
that's crazy. That must be really crazy though, looking back on that time, dude. Like, traveling all that way, like just to ride something that most kids are riding, like at the bottom of the road.
Exactly. Yeah, wow. Then you realize how the like evolution and how there can be 10-year-olds doing backflips now.
True.
Because it's just a different it's just easier access now, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I just wrote 2006 was kind of like the glory years in Sweden. Actually, we had 11 slopestyle and dirt jump contests in Sweden.
Really?
I mean,
wow.
That's almost more than the world tour right now. It's
and like who was like the major driving force behind this?
I mean, obviously that Michael Baumstam guy was doing it, but then I mean that was the time where I think in between 2006 and 2010 maybe, or like 2008, that was the time when the dirt jump bikes kind of got cool or whatever. I mean, everyone wanted a dirt jump bike to ride to school and I feel like all the shops in Sweden realized that, and they were pretty on it and early. So a couple of the shops had events, and then for the people that knows about the history of downhill, we have a real legend in Tommy Johansson in Sweden, and he's also, I mean, he's helped the Swedish scene so much with the bike school, and he also had organized a couple of contests back then. So
that's cool. I think one thing that I've always really liked about Sweden, and this is kind of off topic in a way, but there's an awesome sense of community across the whole of Sweden. And I think if people are going to open like a jump park, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sweden's the sort of place where the whole community will get behind it. They'll help, they'll dig, they'll make coffee. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas across a lot of other parts of the world, it's a mountain biking or whatever sports, a little bit more like segregated. It's like, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, don't even come here anymore. Would you, do you agree with that? Or?
I mean, I guess we are very raised in that way to like let everyone be part of everything and welcome everyone with open arms. That's kind of our whole
definitely
way of looking at the world.
Like I say, that's for me. You know, I used to spend a lot of time,
which I really love, by the way.
You should
with
do.
Sweden, I feel like it's
it's
sick.
a very. I mean, I used to go to a lot of speedway tracks, and a lot of the speedway tracks, you know, like motor speedway, are like community run, and it's the town which owns the stadium and stuff like that, and it's just like a totally different way of doing things to most of the world. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's, as you say, it's more communities more than companies that are running the things. Because, you know, always when it's companies, it's a little bit different. Someone have to make money and you have to do budget cuts and stuff. But when it comes from pure, like,
community and just wanting to do it for everybody else. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because it's something that I really like about the country.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, me too.
It's expensive, but the people are really cool.
Man, you have to pay the price to hang out with cool people. That's for sure.
Okay. Do that.
I'm going in my list.
Yeah, please. Your list's awesome. I love it.
Dude, I put a lot of effort into this.
I like it.
You can tell that I quit school early to become a pro biker because I can barely read myself what it says here. But 2007, it says breakthrough.
Oh,
dude, we almost need like some kind of sound there.
Should we input some sound? Should we have a drum roll in here?
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, right. Cool.
Drum roll.
That's it needed something.
Okay.
The breakthrough in 2007.
Okay.
Because that's obviously a big one for me.
Yeah, and this is something which is going to be really interesting as well to hear how the breakthrough happened. Like,
because in 2006, as I said, we had so many contests in Sweden, and by the end of the year, I started to get a hold of it and won like at least a couple of them or more and more, and then it was one guy from a Swedish magazine who was like, he was traveling a bit, hanging out at Eurobike, etc. And he met Tarek. And actually he said, or showed Tarek one of my videos from YouTube. Wow. And was like, for everyone that doesn't know Tarek Rassouli, he's the organizer of pretty much, or back then at least, the organizer of pretty much every event in Europe. So there I got my first invitation, and Tarek called me up and was like, "Do you want to come to Austria and ride white style on snow?" I guess he thought that could maybe suit me with my Swedish background as well.
Yeah. And at this point, are you quote unquote sponsored?
Not in any way.
Really? Wow. So you're buying your own bikes, like the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had like a local bike shop, a couple of friends in Sweden who, or in Uppsala, I mean, who I probably got like some decent hookup prices, but no, it was nothing like that at all. I mean, I did win a couple of the Swedish contests, but I guess that was like, you know how it is, an Allen key and 3 sets of tubes. So I never really.
It wasn't paying the bills yet.
No, I never really, like, even at that point when I got the invite, and I think it never hit me that like you can make money out of bike riding or anything.
Right.
That's I didn't even think of it.
But again, that's super cool.
It was probably a good thing.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. Definitely a good thing.
I feel like maybe a couple of kids today feel like they almost put too much pressure on themselves to turn pro, whatever that means. But like that it was pretty cool to just go there without any expectations, and that was crazy. I remember Mom. Because when I was growing up, I was always, as I said before, like very Swedish, like super shy, very scared in general, everything. just scared of life overall. And then for me to go on a plane, jump on a plane to Austria and everything. I remember my mom was crying on the airport, and everything was very. It was very emotional for the whole family. Wow. Sending away their 17-year-old son.
That's crazy though. That's like a big thing for you though at that age too, right? Huge growing up sort of challenge and everything, the whole thing.
And watching all the riders that I was gonna ride with now, that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing of it all.
Yeah, so up until then, were you just watching like those guys on videos or YouTube and
exactly,
stuff like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, mostly, mule disorder and that stuff. So it was, it felt, totally. No, so it felt huge. And so just arrived there. Actually it's a pretty funny thing because me and Pilgrim have pretty much been walking hand in hand our whole career, because I think that was his like first or second event as well.
Okay.
And then we got paired in the same room, so it was like we got to know each other straight away. We're the same age, and both super rookies, so we were both like scared and didn't really know what's going on, so we kind of had each other's backs, which was a perfect start actually. We both we were both the Groms that everyone made fun of. So it was good.
And how did it go? How was it? Your first taste at a decent comp?
That was, now the fairy tale starts. It was insane. I just started riding and I didn't feel that good, but after the qualifying I got second, and then ended up fourth in the final actually. So I was I was blown away. I was just I remember that
And what about I
just didn't really understand what it meant or anything. I was just super, super happy.
And coming into that event, was it kind of even on your mind, like, there's a possibility I could do really, really well here?
Not at all.
Really?
I mean,
wow.
Because I can't remember anything of me thinking that I was going to do well or that it was my chance to. Same thing with Swedes. We kind of have low self-esteem or something. Right. I was probably like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go there once, see how it is, and then probably never gonna be invited again. So
you're right. That is kind of a bit of a Swedish mentality. I've got a lot of friends that are Swedish, and a lot of them are like that. They just just go along with it. Yeah, whatever. But
pretty far from.
It's a good attitude to have, though, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really far away from.
We're like completely different.
Yeah, super obviously you're driven, but like in your own Swedish way.
Exactly. Yeah, we're kind of working hard in the background. Pretty much.
Wow.
So that was, awesome. And then pretty much straight when I got home from that, I got invited to Vienna Erking, which was one of the really big events that I've been watching for many years. So that was a huge milestone, and I was freaking out. And but I actually finished second there, and I'm pretty sure Pilgrim finished first, so we were like, shit, what's happening?
Wow.
So that was an awesome, like couldn't have started in a better way.
No, all like proper breaking into the scene. For sure. So at that point then, like this, I always get really interested by this stuff. So at this point, are you starting to get some sponsors roll in and stuff like that?
That's the thing. I didn't really hear much at all about sponsors at that time either. I don't know if it was that we were so fresh and new to the scene that it was. All of this happened really quickly as well. I think Whitestyle was in March or February, and then Vienna Erking was in beginning of April. Okay. So it was only like 2 months. Everything happened really quickly.
Yeah.
And then it was the Qashqai.
Whoa.
Oh yeah,
Shit, I forgot about those things.
I know. That's why I needed a list, because I was like,
I forgot about those.
There's so much to remember. Yeah, and that was for the people that don't know, that's Qashqai back then was kind of like Crankworx is right now for slopestyle. It was the biggest thing that happened all year, for sure. And then back then there was so many slopestyle riders as well that you had to qualify. So I think one qualifying was in Italy, in Milan, and one in Madrid, I think, in Spain.
Right.
So and that's kind of the first where the fairy tale had a little bit of a just something.
A little bump.
A little bump in the fairy tale, is exactly. So I went to Milan and qualified first, and then in my second round, I got really windblown in the first big jump and landed on my shoulder, and couldn't finish the contest, and went back to Sweden and was absolutely devastated, because then I knew that the second qualifying was the week after, and I couldn't go there because I was injured, and right there the life was over.
Oh.
Basically.
Had you not had it wasn't, I can assure you, it wasn't over, but had you had any like
when you're like 17 or
yeah.
like young and really looking forward to something, and then it's like taken away from you, then your whole world just collapses,
crumbling down. Was that like the first major injury too then? Was that the one with
that was just like a tiny separation of the shoulder, so it was, but yeah, definitely for sure the first like real injury or whatever, but it still wasn't very big. And then the fairy tale keeps on going, because then 1 week before Munich, when I was or before the Qashqai was going to kick off, Tarek called me and he said, we have decided to put 2 wild cards in, and you are one of them. And oh my God,
life was back on.
Actually, yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the, like, if you could measure like my everything that happened in my body, that was probably one of the biggest peaks of adrenaline and everything in my life, because that was pure happiness.
Better than sex? That's a yes.
Yeah, better the first year of sex, for sure. That was a disaster. Anyway, next. But that was kind of crazy for me as well, because then I had 1 week to prepare for Qashqai, and I was still injured, and I had sold my bike because I didn't think about quitting, but I was planning to buy a new one for the like upcoming events. So basically I couldn't ride for a week. I had a brand new bike that I hadn't been riding on, and I was invited to the biggest event ever. So at that point, my expectations were like, I mean, in a good way, they were super low again. And I kind of felt like the first event again, that I was like, okay, everything have been shitty, so now let's just make the best out of it.
Yep. Pressure's off almost a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, this was also, again, kind of the same feeling as at Whitestyle at my first event, because now, like, I was gonna ride with all the big names, like also the Americans with Paul Bass, Bear Claw, like all the heavy hitters that I really, really looked up to when I was younger, and still, obviously. Yeah. And anyway, and then the insane thing happened that I won that event. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I didn't know that. I didn't have that at all.
No, yeah. That was
Wow.
That's still like unbelievable, because I mean, that was still, I think, my third event or third or fourth international event, and
go in and win it. Shit, dude, pressure's off. Yeah, wow.
yeah, I remember when I saw the check as well with like 8,000 euros or 10,000 or whatever it was, like, you know, back then when my mom was still paying me like 100 bucks a month or something like that. So just to see 8,000 euros, I was like, screw everything. I'm
in.
I can exactly. I'm set for life now. I haven't seen that much money in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a crazy experience, dude. What a crazy experience.
Totally. So that was really cool. And one of the big things I remember from that event was Trond Hansen. I don't know if everyone remembers him, but he was like the big freeride pioneer from the Nordics.
Okay.
So he was also holding my hand a lot during those years. And I remember that after that win, he came up to me and was like, do you realize now that you're one of us, or something like that? Or like, do you realize now that this was your last event as an amateur? And I remember that those words were really big. I still didn't really understand what they meant, because I was still like, what's gonna happen? But I remember that felt really big, that he came up to me and were like, now you're one of us. I felt like it was a big moment, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say that that's like career defining moment right there? Like, that's the one.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, white style in one way was the biggest one, but for sure this one was. And actually, I can read my notes there, which is pretty funny, because after that event, I told myself that after this, I'm never gonna win again, because then Andreo and I mean all the guys thought it was so much fun, that I was super young and everything, probably virgin, never smoked, never drank, never done anything, and then they just forced me to do everything in one night. And the day after, I was absolutely destroyed, and I was just like, I was super serious as well, that I was like, I actually don't want to win again.
The after parties are too hard.
Exactly. This was too hard. And as I said, back then, just really scared of everything, and probably never been to a nightclub before, so it was just mind blowing.
I bet, dude. Crazy. What's next on your notes? What's next?
Next on my note is kind of funny, that when I came home, still I had no sponsors, but when I was down there, the POC, the protection brand from Sweden, called me up and were like, "Oh shit, we heard you won. That's awesome. Do you want to have a meeting?" And I was like, yes, of course. So I think it was already on the Monday or Tuesday, straight after the event. I went to Stockholm with my dad. Obviously, I was still young, and but I remember that I was still in this kind of zone with so much confidence, and like, okay. I felt really confident. So we were sitting on the meeting, and I basically said like, I want 5,000 euros. And I mean, that's still today, that is quite, not that many people make that kind of money from pad sponsors. So,
and is that's per annum, like for a year?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And exactly. And it's and it was pretty funny just seeing the boss's face, and it's like, oh shit, this guy. But anyway, and then the boss were like, I mean, you seem like you're confident, and we really believe in you, so let's do it. And then we signed the contract there. Wow. And looking back at that now is kind of cool, that after my first big win, I signed with POC, and then I've been with them
forever.
Exactly.
And were they kind of just in like relatively new as well?
That's the cool thing, exactly. That they were. I think that was their first year doing mountain bike stuff. So it's we've really been together from the very start.
Yeah,
so
and obviously you've been involved in like product development and everything with those guys, right?
Exactly. Cool. So that was it's a cool story.
Yeah, sure. It is real cool. Yeah, and it's obviously it's hard to maintain sponsors, I'm guessing. Like some people seem to swap and change all the time. I don't know if it's money or what, but to have a sponsor for 10 years, they must be super stoked with you. And obviously, yeah, you like those guys too, which kind of hard to find that sometimes.
Exactly. No, that's, as you say, it's probably one of the hardest things in the industry, especially with the brands changing, marketing managers and stuff all the time nowadays, it seems like. So sticking with brands. I think one of the questions on Instagram, a really good question, was about that.
Right.
About if many brands have screwed me over the years.
Oh, really?
But
okay.
I think one of the comments on my page was.
I'll find it.
Yeah, and it was. Maybe we get back to that.
Yeah,
afterwards.
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
And then I actually just put down in my notes, everything went fine until 2013.
The sound effects are amazing. I keep inserting things. I'm not kidding. We'll do a drum roll.
I mean, it's a pretty big gap from 2007 to 2013, but it was really like that. I mean, life was. That's the. But for sure, most fun. I mean, that I've had in. I mean, those years were just crazy. I mean, me and Pilgrim and Yannick and Amir, like 18 to 20 years old, started to make money, starting to, I mean, get some fame and thinking that we're rock stars and
for sure.
Partying. It was a couple of very, very, very fun years and just traveling around the world, living.
What do your family think of all that stuff? Were they stoked, or were they a bit worried about you going crazy like a rock star?
Yeah, I think they were definitely a bit worried that it's. But then I think in some way they've always kind of trusted me because I've always. I mean, they were also on a couple events and they saw Pilgrim and those guys, and they realized that I was at least way more responsible than those guys. They were like, oh yeah, it should be fine. Yeah. And I feel like they also, it's been crazy throughout my whole career how they've felt like they never wanted to hold me back really, and just kind of let me do my own mistakes, which have been, I mean, good and bad, obviously. So I'm not gonna tell all parents out there to just let their kids go, because that's definitely not a good option.
No.
But for me, it kind of worked out, and
well, you seem super level-headed, so it's like, if you've got those good values from growing up, that you're respectable and you're not just crazy, then you probably you carry those through your life. Really, you might not necessarily know you're doing it, but you might be, like you said, the most responsible out of all that crew without even trying. Like, you just are.
Yeah, exactly. I guess. As you say, you probably get those values pretty early in life.
Yeah. So coming into
those were some really, actually, kind of getting better and better every year. I was just like, doing. As I said,
the thing is, obviously, like more sponsors roll in and all that sort of stuff. So, like, pre-injury,
yes.
Do you remember like signing for Red Bull, for example? I mean, like, how on earth does that happen to somebody?
Well, that was huge.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's huge for every extreme sports athlete. Having an energy drink sponsor is huge.
Exactly, and that's always been a huge huge goal, obviously, or like not even a goal, because you always think that it's almost impossible to reach. And that's just a small side note. I know that I've been talking a lot now, but a small side note that is pretty funny, that I had a mechanic back in the day, and he his boss was always pretty upset because I always went there and got free. I mean, the mechanic really wanted to help me out, and I never had any money, so the boss was really upset. And then anyway, I in one of my cockier moments when I was probably 16 or 17, I said, all right, at least I'm gonna give you a keg of, or like a pack of Red Bulls when I turn pro. And then I actually remember that the first day when I went to the Red Bull headquarters and got my cap and free drinks, then I actually drove straight to him and gave him the pack of yeah. So that was also a big day.
Yeah.
There's so many memories.
It sounds
like
it, man. It sounds like it. Sounds like it for sure. But yeah,
there's not that many times where you
huge.
When you can talk about yourself for 1 hour, so I have to make it count, right?
Yeah, dude, that's what I like about doing this thing. It's like, in fact, I heard you say not long ago on a vlog that, like, you know, you can just be yourself. It's just a bit like behind the scenes and stuff, and that's the beauty of doing this. It's not, you know, it's not structured really. You just go with the flow, you know.
Totally. I love it. I could do this. You can call me every day. I'm always always open.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah,
you should start a podcast as well. If you have some spare time, just start a podcast. You know, you got a shit ton of contacts. You could do something cool, real cool.
Maybe I'll think about it. It's hard enough with social media and emails and everything. But yeah, I'll think about it.
Okay. So coming into Joyride then, 2013.
Exactly. Yes.
You were on top of the world almost, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that was the time in my life where I was like, nothing can go wrong. I won a couple of the events that led up to there with Colorado Free Ride Festival and a couple of the really big ones, and like, beat some heavy hitters there, and then went to Whistler, won the speed and style, and the confidence was just, I think some athletes know what I'm talking about, where it's almost, you don't have to think or do anything. It's you just ride the wave basically, and everything works out.
It's just clicking.
Yeah, exactly. So everything was going great during practice, and my first final run was probably one of the best runs I've done in my slopestyle career, and was sitting in first going into the second runs, and then Brandon dropped in fairly early because I think he crashed in his first run.
Yeah.
And then he just beat my score and bumped me into second. And because I won the first round, then I was the last man on the mountain to drop in. And I mean, with the confidence of just having a lot of confidence, and then standing up there knowing that the worst thing that can happen is that I get second, and now I'm just gonna send it hard.
Just gonna
basically.
Send it.
That was the plan, and now I felt pretty unbeatable at that point.
Did you change your run for the second run?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
In the first run, I added a couple of things. First of all, I triple whipped, which was kind of fairly new at that point, and jump. And then in the first run, I did the 360 tail whip with just one tail whip on the last one. Right. And then and then for the second one, I kind of knew that I had to do the 360 double whip to win. And also the year before, I crashed on my run on a 360 double whip on the step downs. I was kind of like, it would be the perfect moment in my career that I'm standing up here in Whistler with all the crowd, last run, and that I land the trick that I crashed on last year. So I just, it was just about, it had to happen basically.
Yeah. So there's no doubt in your mind that's what's going to get. That's what's happening. Final jump, boom, taking the win. Yeah.
And also talking about, injuries. I think up to that point I had not been off my bike for more than maybe 2 or 3 weeks,
right?
And no major injuries, which is absolutely
it's pretty much unheard of. Like,
exactly.
Really?
And
Yeah.
I was every talked to in all the interviews were like, how can you be the only guy who's never getting injured? And I just thought, yeah, you know how it is when you you think that, yeah, it's just not for me. It doesn't happen to me. Well, that was about to change.
Dum dum dum.
Exactly,
Dude. Obviously, I mean, obviously you crashed. You ate shit on the on that last jump.
I also felt the whole way going down that run was like everything is perfect. Like every trick was going great, and I just felt like it's meant to be. And when I was going out there for the 360 double whip, there was no doubt whatsoever.
I'm guessing before then you've pulled that trick before, right?
Actually, I don't know if I did it in step downs before that, but I mean, I had done 360 double whips 1,000 times.
1,000 times, yeah.
But that step down was very big. I think it was like 8 to 10 meters long, and then pretty high as well. So now looking at the replays and stuff, you can you can see that I'm falling from. It was a pretty high jump straight down on my right leg.
The footage is it's gruesome. It's pretty bad. Like,
if someone wanted to go in, you can just YouTube Martin Söderström crash, and you will find it.
Did you see that guy who just got run over by the Formula One car?
I did not see that.
Did you not? Oh man, it's very similar. Like, you can just see someone's leg break in half almost.
To the crowd.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I don't really follow Formula One, but it sort of did the rounds on social media. Like, it's a Ferrari driver and his mechanic stood in front of him, and he sets off, and you can just see his leg just like, it's pretty bad. It kind of reminded me of that today when I rewatched it. But yeah, the footage is obviously it's brutal, but you don't want to rewatch it too many times because you probably wouldn't want to leave the house. So
exactly. So that was I just remember that it was more pain than I'd ever felt in my, or like that I could ever imagine. I kind of lost my how do you say, like, kind of went into a shock.
You're going to shock, right? Yeah. Shit, dude. So I mean, from here then, I mean, obviously
we didn't mention that either, that me and Brandon were competing in super close in the world tour as well. So that was also like one of the big things that we were battling for the tour.
For the tour title, yeah.
So I mean, laying there in hospital, knowing that I lost the world tour and not gonna be able to ride for 9 months or so, and I mean, obviously the doctor said, as they always do, you're probably never gonna ride your bike again. I don't know why they did that, but it seems like a way for doctors to
just kick you when you're down, dude. It's like
I'm not sure what happened there, but my girlfriend was there taking care of me for the week I was laying in Vancouver, and did the surgery, and I actually have to give big ups to Red Bull there, because they paid everything with the surgery and first class flight home.
Wow. And
really took care of me. I mean, that was probably about like $100,000 dollars in the end. So it wasn't a small bill.
No, it wasn't.
That would have been a hard hit for me. To do profit. So that's big ups to Red Bull to do that.
It's kind of like, it seems to be a pattern there. I mean, obviously you float, you come home, and then you went to England. You came to England, right? To Manchester.
Exactly.
After that, okay. Was there much time you were at home, just sort of like thinking what the hell am I going to do?
Very much so. It's that was a tough time, especially that before I didn't have to handle anything even close to that. I mean, it would probably have been easier if I had like at least a collarbone before or something.
Of course, you've literally gone from the highest high to the lowest low, like
exactly,
with no middle ground, right? Like, it's just straight up, straight down.
Yeah, totally. So that was That was hard. I haven't talked to my girlfriend and parents about it, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't the most happy guy during the first time. But as you said, yeah, I was very depressed for a bit too long, because when I came to Manchester, they were like, "Oh shit, you should have started earlier to like walk on it and stuff to get back." But I just couldn't. Basically couldn't.
You're just in a bit of a hole, right? Like, and
exactly.
I'm sure I read too that is your dad sports psychologist?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So that have. I mean, now when I grow older, I kind of feel like it have helped me a lot, but it have also made it really hard, because it also makes me think so much and like over like thinking about it over and over again and different things, and so it's I mean, it probably helped me more than I can ever imagine.
Yeah.
But
the thing is as well, like when you're so close to it, you don't appreciate it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, like it's your dad, but you're just like, he's still your dad, isn't he? You're still like,
exactly.
Leave me alone, man. Like,
exactly. You're always gonna say no anyway, and that he's wrong, even if you're listening. Yeah.
So you came to Manchester.
Yes.
And that's obviously a massive bonus. Like being a Red Bull athlete too, because you know, obviously that's what Danny went through. We spoke about that with Danny on this show. Like, you know, Red Bull hooked him up with a physio and just used the whole facility over in Manchester. And did you pretty much go through the same sort of protocol as Danny, do you think?
Yeah. Exactly the same thing. And I would say also the most important thing when you go to places like that is every time you go to a person in Sweden, I felt that when you meet a doctor or physiotherapist or whatever, they're like, "Oh shit, this is never." I mean, you can see in their face and the way they talk that you're gonna have a hard time just walking for the rest of your life. Like, you can see that they're like, "Oh shit, your body's really screwed up." But when you go to Manchester, it's the completely opposite.
Yeah, they're trying to make
the first time I was there, I was training with a guy who broke his tib fib in his both legs and his one arm, I think, or something. And then you're like, "Oh, if this guy can do it, then I can do it." And then you get into the right mindset, instead of feeling like you're completely damaged for the rest of your life. When you're there, you're just one of many that is trying to get back. So I would say that was probably the most important thing for me, to feel that, okay, this is actually, people have done this before and these guys know what they're doing. So now I'm just gonna trust them and work really, really hard.
And do you think that if you hadn't had that, like, you know, that facility, like the protocol, the whole thing, do you think you could have got back fit again?
I mean, it would definitely have taken me a lot longer.
Yeah. Because
first of all, I mean, basically the thing they tell you when you get there is like, throw the crutches away, get going. Like, don't stop feeling sorry for yourself and just start doing stuff. Like, anything is better than nothing. So a lot quicker, and hard to say, but maybe, I mean, it was really, really good for me anyway. And also to be there and realize what hard work actually is. I mean, sometimes you also, when you're in freestyle sports, you can get a little bit lazy sometimes with the basically gym
training and stuff, right? That's interesting. Yeah.
And everything. So when you go there, I mean, you don't want to be the fat freestyler who's just the worst at everything. So when you get there and train with boxers and stuff, then you're like, "Oh shit, I have to get on it and start training," because we're behind on some strength testing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was also really, really, really good for me.
For anyone listening too, like, there's a super good, almost like a mini documentary that Red Bull did. It's like 3 or 4 parts, I think. Yeah,
recovery.
That's it. It's real good. For anyone listening, like, go check that out. It's a bloody good series that they did. And it documents this whole process like really well, and all the stuff that you went through. What was the hardest challenge? Like, was it the physical or the mental challenge of getting back on a bike?
I have to say mentally. I
Right.
mean, because just going to the gym and working hard was one thing, but to watch all riders get better and just being at home, it is really, really tough.
Yeah.
And also for the first time in your life, or not in your life, but since you turn pro, you're like, you have to face the fact that you don't have your bike and you don't live with the how do you say, like, you get like confidence pushes
Yeah.
because you're like, oh shit, I did a good trick today, or I posted a sick photo on Instagram, or I did something, and you build your confidence with things all the time. And then
That's
when
interesting. Yeah. So you're almost like a stripped back personality for a while, like, right.
Exactly. You
What
kind
am
of
I?
have to
Yeah.
figure out, who am I without the bike? And I think that's what many athletes say is very interesting, and why nothing bad. How do you say? Nothing good comes with a bad.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Something good comes with the bad. That's how you say it.
Yeah.
That it's being away there, you need to find yourself, basically, because being a pro athlete can sometimes be a bit of a dream, and you don't live in the real life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why many athletes, when they end their careers, they have a really hard time.
Definitely.
Because it's hard to know who you are without the success. And
Definitely. So that's super interesting. So throughout this whole process, one of the hardest things for you was that, like, you know, you're not getting people all the time, you know, I don't know, blowing smoke up your ass, almost saying you're the best at this, you're the best at that. It's just you doing your thing, trying to get fit again. Yeah. Wow. Huh. That's interesting. I like that. That was super interesting.
Yeah, it's.
What were some of the tips and tricks and stuff then that you learned to sort of like get yourself back in a better place?
I guess it's like we all struggle with in life, to just appreciate yourself for who you are and not for the things that you do, kind of. I mean, it goes hand in hand, but I mean, I had to work really, I mean, still do. I mean, I've really started to get interested in the whole like psychology and everything.
Okay.
And still working really hard on that, to just appreciate
growing as a person, and like,
exactly. Yeah, because it's I mean, especially in the world we're living in today, with a lot of like things to live up to all the time, and if you're not in, you're out, kind of. And it's pretty hard.
It's a strange world right now, and I think it sounds like you almost found mountain biking and the sport and everything at the perfect time, when you weren't influenced by social media and fucking vlogs and YouTube and everything. I think it must be so much harder now for kids that have got that constant pressure to be like, oh, I need to post today, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, it
definitely. And I mean, not even for bike riders.
No,
I mean, it's
everything, just life. Like,
yeah, exactly. We're
it's Instagram models and everything like that. It's
just
a strange
looking at that every day. I mean, of course, people are gonna get stressed out and depressed and whatever it is that we feel nowadays. It's very sad. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, I've got some. Yeah, I've just made a quick note of something I want to ask you in a bit, but we'll get to this. This kind of ties in with something else. So, do you feel that that you maybe rushed to get back to fitness, or did you take your time to get back on a bike?
I mean, I think I didn't rush the rehab, but I definitely rushed it when I got back on the bike, or actually the rehab as well, because that's the hard part. I mean, when the doctors say, or like the guys in Manchester were like, okay, now you can start riding your bike, and you start riding and you fairly quickly start to feel better. then it's very hard to, when you've been riding your bike, to get back in the gym and work as hard as you did, like the really boring part for 9 months, and to motivate yourself to like, it's really easy to be like, oh, now I can ride my bike again. I don't have to go back to the gym.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been my mistake throughout my whole career, that every time when I felt good on the bike again, I've just been like, okay, cool, now I'm back and now I don't have to exactly now I don't have to focus or like to think about the boring rehab anymore. And that's not how it works.
No. And was there a feeling too that like the sport was progressing so fast that you had to get on a bike, otherwise you were going to get left behind a little bit?
Of course, yeah. That's a bummer that I can really regret that now that I've been so stressed about getting back, because yeah, I mean, not that much it's way better to just take your time and yeah, just don't rush it, because that's gonna be way worse in the end anyway. Like if you do get a new injury or something, then it's gonna take way more time. It's way better to just take the time you need and then work back slowly.
Yeah.
That's not been my strong side.
No.
But dude, we have to hurry up if we're gonna go through all my injuries. That's like a Bible.
I'm guessing you didn't have enough paper to write all those down, right?
Oh no, I had to.
The ink ran out of the pen, like
scale it down to just the big ones.
All right, let's talk about like the different direction that your life's gone in now, right? Like,
no, but we're gonna go through the injuries though, because I have my turn. So
let's do it.
Is it fine if I'm the boss of my own?
100%. It's rad.
Perfect. I love this. Okay, so here I mean this is a pretty good resume of injuries. So that was 2013, and then I was off the bike for 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so after the first tib fib break, that was 9 months off the bike, and then I was really, really, really motivated to do a good comeback, and I decided to go to Quebec and the City 8 event that they were hosting there, because I hadn't been competing that much after or at all. I'm not sure how it was, but I felt like I needed to prepare before Crankworx Joyride, which was what my big goal. So I went to Quebec and had a good first run. I think I was sitting in second or something, and you know, I always want to win, and went for it in the second run, and did a little bit of an overtake on a flip whip, and put my foot down, and broke a bone in my foot this time. So it wasn't the tib fib this time; it was a bone in my foot that I broke.
Okay. Again, though, like the footage is gnarly. You can see it. It's surprising it's only one bone, dude, because it looks way worse.
Yeah, I know. It just folds.
You must be super flexible.
Oh, yeah. I think that was the big problem with that I didn't have the full strength in my ankle, and when I got too much pressure, it just gave up and just folded backwards. And that meant another 6 months off the bike. And I mean, that was pretty tough, especially doing 9 months and then like working hard and then feeling good again, and you're pumped for Crankworx, and then like have to do another 6 months of rehab.
Did you go through the whole sort of same process too? Was it Manchester or?
Yep, exactly.
Really,
same thing, basically.
Deja vu.
And such a bummer as well that it was like, that it was in the beginning of the season as well. So I pretty much missed the whole season. And then during the winter time, I worked really hard again with the rehab and started to feel good. And then I got a little bit in general stressed because I started to feel that maybe I think it was more from me than from the partners, but I was starting to feel like, okay, now I have to do something really good. So then me and Rebel was talking about going to Alaska and film a trip before, or like film a video before my contest season started.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounded like a great idea. So went to Alaska, which everyone should go to. The craziest nature experience in my life.
I've never been, but yeah.
Yeah, and then we were building for 2 days, and then actually the first day of riding, we were hiking up the trail and we found a pretty cool jump. So I just told the photographer, okay, just quickly before the film guys comes up, let's just do a shot here. And then I hit it, and it was a little bit wet, so I slipped my pedal, land with my pedal on my calf, or like the bike basically rides over me with the pedal in my calf.
Okay,
and I break up the tib fib brake. I mean, I had a big rod through my whole leg, so it was still holding together. But when we saw the scans, it like, you can see that they kind of like where the brake was before, it was a space now basically between the tib fib again. And that was also kind of like worst case scenario, because they can't really push it in again because you have the big rod there. So the space basically have to heal. So I had like half a centimeter or 5 millimeters of bone that had to heal. Right. And just Wow. And in general there I was just, I mean, you can just imagine.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Frustrating.
The thing is, is it quite well documented, that injury, or not? Like, is there any? No, because I didn't really find anything out about that when I looked into it.
This is a bummer with from the City 8 injury. The bummer with my injuries after that have been so. I mean, I didn't even want to tell my partners, I didn't want to tell my fans.
Yeah,
I was really lonely in the injuries that came after, because I was like, shit, I don't want to tell anyone. Like, everyone is just going to think that I'm getting injured all the time and not want to sponsor me. And like, so I kind of, obviously told my partners I had to, but like, it was
something that you kind of were trying to go through on your own. So so you weren't letting people down. Wow.
Exactly. So that was tough, because the first two were like, you get a lot of positive feedback and stuff, and you get a lot of energy that feeds you the whole time. But then with this one, when you're almost doing it behind the scenes, was I think almost even harder.
Yeah.
But so that meant another 6 months off the bike. And since that was in the beginning of the season, I mean, this is insane.
Yeah, it is. So back to Manchester again?
In the beginning of the season, exactly in April, and then missing the whole year again. Yeah. The whole slopestyle season, and back to Manchester doing the whole thing again. And then I'm coming back, and I think I was riding for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And Max and Anton and everyone in Sweden were like, okay, let's just go to Happy Ride. No pressure, just ride there. And enter the event there. And the first run, I slip my foot on the tail whip and do exactly the same thing as I did in Alaska. The pedal is getting stuck in my calf and just rides over my leg again. And exactly the same thing happened as in Alaska, that I broke up the tib fib again, which meant another 6 months off the bike.
Wow. At this point, you own 2 houses in Manchester.
Listening to this list, there are people just gonna get depressed and turn it off.
No, they're not.
How insane is that, though? Like,
dude.
Weeks, and then exactly the same thing happens again, and another 6 month break.
So where does that leave us time-wise then? Like where are you?
Yeah, so then we are, the Alaska filming was beginning of 2015, was gone for 6 months over the summer. Then Happy Ride is in the end of the summer, so like October or something.
Okay.
And then broke it again, so 6 months off, and then heading into 2016 season. And that's actually the first time when I was seriously like, maybe it's time to quit. Not after the one at Happy Ride, but the one after that I'm gonna tell you about now, which is the most insane thing that I think have happened to anyone. Anyway, 6 months rehab, and then the first time back on the bike, I went up to the biking gymnasium and we're just gonna try out my leg, and just went to the BMX track and was just gonna do some sprints. And I hadn't touched my bike, and when I'm about to do a sprint, my chain snaps, and I go over the bar and break my hand.
What the hell? What the hell?
I know. It was just a small break, but
right.
It was.
It's still like
it was
demoralizing for you, right? Like
exactly the most frustrating thing. This is funny because when I think back at this, like in the beginning, I had so many things to say, but when I look back at all these injuries, I don't remember any not that many things to say, because I think it was just a really dark period where I was just stressing and not having.
Yeah. Other than rehab, like what did you do to fill your time?
Good question. I mean, I think I'm kind of like that I really focus on things.
Right. You pick up another hobby or
but I've always loved training in general. So as soon as I could start riding a little bit, I was doing a lot of road bike riding and country skiing and good question. I mean, if we calculate these things, it's like 2 years of my life that I
exactly. Yeah, it's a long time. I
must have done something.
Yeah, you can get really good at something in 2 years, right?
Should have thought about that.
Yeah, some of these kids are making millions playing like Call of Duty or some shit.
I was just gonna say I probably got very good at social media because lying to people that I was still, doing throwback photos for like 1.5 years. That's a serious skill right there. All right, but it's not over there. Okay. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No, and then but that was just, as I said, 2 or 3 months with a broken hand, and then I moved into 2016. Mm-hmm. And that's when I decided to, it's my slopestyle career is done. Yeah. I can't keep doing this. It's I could first of all feel straight away when I started jumping again that I was really scared, and just didn't have the same, like before. I was always like, okay, shit, now I'm gonna show the world that I'm good again. But now it was more like, oh shit, what's the least I can do and still end up in a fairly good result and keep my partners. Yeah. So that was kind of when I'm like, okay, this is not fun anymore. If I'm not.
The thing is, as well, like how
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
I was weird.
How did you maintain all sponsorships and stuff throughout all of this?
That's a great question, and I felt like again we have to go back to because this is kind of funny. I thought about this when I read that question, like the question I got on Instagram, like have you screwed by many companies throughout your career? And actually for me it's kind of been the opposite.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Like that the partners have been sticking with me most of my partners are really long time partners, like Red Bull, Specialized, POC, SRAM. Yeah, most of them Continental have been.
They've been there forever, right? Like
from since I a couple of years before the injuries happened. So
you don't like. What's the secret? How did you?
First of all, I think just really, really lucky with finding the right brands and the right people who really cares. And then I don't know. It's I've always been focusing a lot on trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
And I think that is something.
It goes such a long way, though, dude. Like in any sport, like
tell all listeners to, if there's something, I mean, way more than trying to learn the latest tricks, is just to go to an event, tell all your friends how good they are at riding, all the kids, try to help out, just try to be a good person, and then that's gonna go way further than learning the latest flip, quadruple, tail whip,
whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
They're doing nowadays.
Wow.
Yes. Well, yeah, lucky with that. And then in 2016, I decided to just do filming. And then I was filming that field tripping video that I was really excited about in the flower field, and that turned out really
so sick.
Cool, and I felt like I was really in a good spirit there, and like learned a couple of new tricks, and was very, very motivated again to not to compete, but to just learn new things. And then unfortunately on the last day of that, I crashed and got a fracture in my back this time.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if people know about that either, because that was one of those where I really kept on the down low, because there I was also lucky because I was just finished with the field tripping, and it was like middle of the summer, so I was like, okay, so I can throw back this for like two months, and then I was back. I'm such a pro at being injured.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but yeah, it's worked.
Again. And after that, I could really feel that I started to think way more, and were like, okay, I have to start, like, because also the doctors were like, dude, if you injure yourself more, you are gonna be in big trouble, like walking and thing.
Yeah, you have to be mindful. It's the whole like risk reward thing now as well, isn't it? Like you get like, a little bit older, and it's like, do you really want to try and keep up with these young guns? Not that you're not young, but you know what I mean. Do you really want to?
I can actually realized in my notes here that I wasn't listening, because then, just when I got back from field tripping, I was just in a local skate park practicing oppo tail whips over a box jump, and somehow got my foot stuck in the fork and broke my foot again, and had another 6 months that time, I think it was.
Dude.
And yeah, there I was really, I mean, that was a hard hit.
Yeah.
I think, my parents were pretty worried there, because I was basically not talking for 3 days, and just, it was,
dark
just
spot again.
Just really dark spot.
Yeah.
But now we have to turn this around. Holy shit. We've been talking about injuries for like 20 minutes
It's
now.
interesting though, dude. Like, it is super interesting, especially as, like I said before, like a lot of those things aren't like really documented anywhere. Like you wouldn't know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny because when I was sitting and writing this, I feel like I really have to do a video about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I should have been filming everything in the meantime, like the down days and the stuff. Maybe I have to fake everything.
Right. This is a perfect segue into what I was going to ask you. So
cool.
I've seen that you've started doing some more like vlog stuff, right?
Correct.
A little bit. Like, you did some vlogs throughout, I can't remember what event it was. You called it vlog 1, vlog 2, etc. But
exactly. Started at Dirt Masters last year.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't really into vlogs up until quite recently. I had a guy on the podcast called Scotty Lachlan, and Scotty used to race EWS. I don't know if you know Scotty, but Scotty's got a really cool YouTube channel, and he does he does a bunch of cool stuff. Like he's always out riding. Anyway, he introduced me to a guy called Jon Olsen.
Yes.
Do you know Jon?
I do. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So all right. Now it's super cool. I think what Jon does. I've become like a massive fan over time. I'm like, I love what he does. Like his vlogs are really interesting. But if you're a kid, sometimes watching this stuff, maybe you're a bit like, I don't know, like, oh, my life's a bit shit, really. Like this guy's out, buying $500,000 cars and stuff like that. And
exactly,
like you just said, there's definitely still a space for, the shit days where you're feeling like shit and you're a little down and stuff. And I think that's really important, because it's like a glorified life that it's the only stuff that you show is the cool stuff.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree, and that's one of the big problems nowadays, that we, like the influencers, people think that we're some kind of, I mean, if we only post good things and happy pictures, obviously people are going to think that we have the easiest life in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I feel like in general, of what I've learned over the years is the more you share a perfect life, the bigger problems you have, basically. Because if you're really scared of showing your weak sides, then usually you have a lot of them. I'm not saying that Jon is not a happy person.
No,
I'm sure he's super happy, but it's important for people to hear that we also have really bad days, and life is hard.
For sure.
Basically.
For sure.
So
and it's easy to be to live in this bubble where all you do is watch all that stuff. Like you could super easily do it. You could just sit and watch like YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and just be like, "Well, why is this guy buying Lamborghinis and I'm sat here in my shit house?" Like, it's just not really real life, right? Like,
no, for sure not.
Which is why I think like conversations like this are important for people to listen to and to understand that. So, what?
Definitely, yeah. If you wanna watch the fancy life, go and watch Jon. If you want to listen to depressing injuries, then watch the Martin Söderström podcast. That will at least make you feel good.
All right, let's flip this on its head. All right, so your life's going in almost a totally different direction now. Still involved in mountain biking, doing a little bit more racing, like speed and style and stuff like that. But what, from the outside looking in now, where do you think slopestyle is heading, and where is it at?
That is a terrific question. First of all, I feel like slopestyle doesn't get the cred it should have, because what those guys are doing and how hard they are training at the moment is very impressive. I mean, I've been riding with Max, Emil, Brett Reeder was here this winter in Sweden, because we got a new really cool setup here, and I'm very impressed. Those guys are absolute animals, and just like doing the hardest tricks over and over and over in the foam pit, and working out in the gym, and really putting in work. And when I hear some of there's still people doing really good money, but when I hear what some of them are being paid, then I feel like I should quit riding and become a man and try to help them, because it's really sad.
That's super interesting though, dude. That is so interesting, because I never got a chance to ask Nyquist this. It just never came up. But I watched an interview with him, and he said, he was like mentoring a bunch of riders. He was trying to help out where he could. And one of the things he was doing was like helping them financially, because like you just said, some of them were just on shit contracts. Like they were spending money like crazy idiots, and they needed somebody to come in and just be like, no, just chill out a little bit. This is sort of like what you need to be doing. So is that something you're doing a lot of these days with the younger guys?
I've been trying with the Swedish kids and just trying to be a mentor. I mean, I feel like, first of all, they have been, I mean, both Max, Anton, and Emil are all very smart guys and very mentally strong as well. So I've just been trying to help them a little bit. I hope that I've had some good tips for them here and there.
For sure.
But I think, as you say, that's definitely an important thing to, when you're young, as I touched a little bit before, everything is right now. You never think about the future, basically.
Yeah.
So it's important to maybe think about that. Maybe I don't have to fly to New Zealand and spend $5,000 on traveling, and there will be another contest. But then I understand that if you get invited, and nowadays it's so important with points and everything, that some of them just have to risk it and travel that far. It's just
yes,
it's just getting harder and harder. I think it's the same in the BMX industry. There's just more people.
Yeah,
I mean, the budgets are not getting any bigger, and now it's just more riders that want that piece of money.
Yeah,
it's
I think that's the same across the industry, totally, man. Like, without going too deep into the bike industry side of it, there's lots of changes happening. It's a bit of a mess right now, that's for sure.
It is, and especially now when the social media is so big for like the young guys that don't have big channels and stuff like that, then the brands will. And that's
it's disappointing. I mean, like, I'll hold my hand up. I mean, going back a few years, obviously, Hookit, we're a distribution company, and we often get sponsorship requests and stuff like that. And you're like, right, what's your social media following? It shouldn't be like that, but unfortunately, it kind of is. But it shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't support it, but it kind of is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a very, very important. An easy way for brands to reach out to the right public. So, I mean, you understand that it's important.
Yeah.
So it's a hard world out there right now for the young riders. But again, everyone should at least watch all the Crankworks slopestyle events, because it blows my mind
for sure
every time how hard they send it, basically. That it's like it's no tomorrow. Just
it's nuts. And where do you see it going? Like, do you have any idea? I mean, I know it's kind of hard to put that in words, but it's getting more and more video gamey every year. But it's been doing that for 10 years, right? Like, it keeps doing it. But where is I don't know.
Very, 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 very good question. Yeah, as you say, I feel like every year when I'm watching Joyride or something, I'm like, okay, now it's the end. Now it can't get any better. And then it's always another bar spin or another tail whip. So I guess it will just keep on going. I mean, we've said the same thing in skiing and BMXing and skating. Where does it end? But it seems like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And same in downhill. People just go faster all the time.
It's true. If one thing Geordie Lund said, who was the last guest, he wanted to see, because I asked him, like, what's the state of slopestyle? What's going on? What would you like to change? And he said multiple lines, bringing that back. I was like, that's I'd never even thought of it. I was like, dude, you look at slopestyle skiing and it's multiple hits, rails, hitching posts, whatever.
Exactly. Amazing idea. It's just same as always, though. Like, multiple lines means spending more money on the course. But I agree. It would be it would make it a whole lot more exciting and fun again. But I think it is a problem. Or like, I mean, obviously everyone wanna spend as little as possible on the courses, and I still feel like we're pretty lucky. We still get really good courses. I mean, for some downhill riders and stuff who say that they turn up to the same exact same track year after year. So we shouldn't complain at all.
True.
But I agree, though. Great point from Jordilan. That's multiple lines. And if any course designer are listening to this, then please give us some more lines.
I've got 2 questions for you before we do some listener questions and we get you out of here, because it's been a long time, this one, dude. I like it. But
sorry.
No, I'm joking. Much. So first question would be like, obviously, what have you got planned for the future? What's the future look like for you?
Yes, great question. My mom asked me every day.
So does mine. And then she says, when are you going to pay this bill?
Exactly. Maybe I'll have to write slopestyle again. No, it's, very good question. It's, at the moment, I'm just trying to enjoy bike riding as much as possible, traveling. Doing. Do
you have any like projects?
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
Up? Obviously, you might not be able to say so much about them, but you've got things in the pipe work like going.
Exactly. Yeah, a couple of projects, and also I started to really enjoy just trail riding and that stuff. So I'm trying to do a lot of things together with Specialized, with like trail days and stuff like that, and more just go out with people that are stoked to ride. And it seems like sometimes they're actually pretty stoked to ride with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Not sure why. No, it's pretty cool to when you go out on events like that, because then it's just cool to see that people are happy to and ask you questions about riding and products, and it's cool to help out, basically.
Sure. That's cool, man. All right, I'm going to say one word to you. You can say yes or no. EWS.
I mean, no for me, but yes. I mean,
all right.
I feel EWS get way too much hate in mountain biking. So if I just said no, then I would be against it. But I'm definitely not against it. Okay. I feel like it's a genius thing, but just not for me. Was that a politically correct answer?
All right, last one from me. What's the one thing, the one gift that mountain biking's given you that you're gonna like cherish forever? What's that one standout thing?
I mean, obviously, friends is the obvious answer, because all the people I've met over the years is unbelievable. So many close friends out on the events, and I feel like especially the slopestyle, when everyone are like terrified of death or like life-threatening. Pretty much at every event, then you get very close, and that friendship is really, really cool.
Awesome.
Also traveling and pushing myself. If I look back at who I was when I was like 14, 15, before I started riding bikes, I think I would probably be not anywhere close where I am as a person or anything. So the way that it pushed me as a human is pretty cool to see.
That's cool. Nice. Good answer, dude. Love that. All right. Should we do some listener questions?
That would be awesome if we have time.
No, we'll blast through them. We'll blast through. All right. Okay. First one. Instagram @will_pico65. What was the first MTB trick you learned on a jump?
It was probably a 1 foot bar tweak. It was called back then.
Nice.
Because I couldn't do X-ups. I was too short and my bar was too wide. So I just did bar tweaks.
Okay.
And I thought I was very cool.
All right, next one. This is such a good bloody question. No, exactly. This is such a good question. When I read this, I was like, yes, winner. Okay. I think it's Basshead Ballint on Instagram. And he wanted to know, as a professional athlete, do you think your worldview and psyche might be distorted because of the huge amount of followers you have? Also, do you feel like sometimes sponsors treat you like a chunk of meat?
There we go. And
good question, dude.
We already touched base on the second question.
We did.
So I guess I will focus more on the first one.
Yeah.
But absolutely 100% our worldview gets very wrong. Mm-hmm. For sure. Many times throughout my career, I have wished that I would have had a normal job before. First of all, just because it's very, very easy to complain and just not appreciate what you have, like right in front of you. If you haven't been, I'm not saying that a normal 9-to-5 job is not very. I mean, it can also be very, very fun. Yeah. But sometimes it's just easy to be hard on yourself and be like, oh, it's so annoying to travel, and oh, now I have to go home and pack my bike again and fly to catch another flight. And I feel like if I would have done something else maybe before, I feel like I would have appreciated it more. Yeah. But also, as I said before, I'm working really hard still with myself, basically, that it's been it's really, really easy to think that I throughout my whole career, when everything was going great, I think I thought that I had the best confidence in the world, and felt like I was, there's nothing wrong with me, like nothing can take me down.
Yeah.
But then you really start to realize later that, wow, all that is I mean, you can kind of see it like almost. All that is self-confidence. It's something based on something that you do. It's not self-esteem that you have like from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's a very big difference. It's very easy when everything is going good to have good self-confidence, but to have high self-esteem is something that is very hard. And yes, that happens also to pro riders in any sport.
That's a good answer.
And it is very, very tricky. I think it hits us even harder actually, because as we talked about before, everything is going up and everything is going great, and then maybe one day just boom, it all disappears. And we have to face all the things then.
Again, it's like I've been around things like that. Again, mainly speedway riders that have this epic adrenaline rush for 6 months of the year, and then when it comes to the off season, they don't know what to do with themselves, so they turn to like drugs and drinking and just doing stupid shit. So I think you got to be pretty smart to do action sports, because sometimes the adrenaline's not there, and you need to be able to live with yourself.
Exactly, totally, and just the whole kind of the way emotions as well. That I remember for many years I didn't really feel any emotion. Like as soon as I started to feel down, I posted a video or I posted a clip on Instagram and got many likes, and I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, my life is actually great, even if I maybe should have been at home in my bed crying, because that's like the human way of handling your emotions. But then I was trying, I think many people do that nowadays.
100%, man.
Instead of feeling your emotions,
I think the majority of people are kind of have an addiction to the dopamine you get from getting a like, but then somebody like yourself, it's accelerated because you're not getting 5 likes off your friends, you're getting 5,000 or whatever.
It's crazy.
Hundreds of thousands of YouTube views and stuff. It's
exactly. It's really.
And we're all human, right? We're all fueled off the same stuff. So.
Oh, definitely. Yes, it's very easy to hide from your real emotions, and then when that stuff is starting to disappear, then you have to face the music.
You do. Next one, Asgard A. Sorry if I screwed your Instagram name up, buddy. What is the maddest thing you've ever done while at a biking event drunk?
Sorry, now my mobile phone was. I just heard stupid things while I'm drunk. Was that the whole? Question?
No, it was.
Okay, cool.
It was. What is the maddest thing you've ever done while at an event drunk?
Oh my God.
In brackets, best drunken story, by the way.
I've been working hard throughout the last 5 years to try to forget all of the stupid things we did back then. Oh my God. And now the pressure is on as well. The best one. Oh shit. I mean, as I said, I was mostly the guy who behaved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have to give me some time here. You have to cut in the podcast because this was a hard one.
It's all right. We'll come back to it if you want.
I can't remember any of the party ones, but the most stupid thing I've done in my bike career is 100% the time that I booked my flight for an event. I went to Canada because the event was there. I show up. I mean, I had a really bad flight as well. 25 or like 20 hours later, I show up in Canada. I was in the reception of the hotel and just like, yeah, what's up? I'm here for the bike event. And she's like, what bike event? I'm pretty sure it's a bike in 2 weeks, but not now. And then I just checked my phone and I was there 2 weeks too early. So I just had to book my flight and go back home again.
Really? You didn't stay? Dude.
I actually went to Whistler and got drunk.
Nice.
But then I got really sick and I flew home.
Wow.
So that was a good trip. It wasn't any alcohol involved. I was just being stupid anyway. But that's sometimes hard because when you're in that zone and just travel all the time, then just your mind just stop working.
It's weird because you think you're on it, but then you make something stupid like that. I've done it a million times. Like with the business I had before, we used to drive constantly from England to Poland, Sweden to Norway, and you're booking ferries and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, I'm sure I booked this ferry. Oh no, I didn't. Just didn't book it. It's just weird stuff like that.
Oh, but yeah, I have to get back to him. Maybe I can write him on Instagram about the parties. I feel like many of them is something that I don't want to talk about on here as well. So cool. I'll get back to him.
Brilliant. We'll do one more.
Cool.
At A-Line Bach, how tight are your pants these days?
The reception was a little bit better. One more time.
How tight are your pants these days?
Oh my God, man, it's getting worse.
Really?
It's insane. Yeah, because I bought tight pants and now I washed them. So now they're like, it's insane. It's like a full-time job just to get them on and off. It's crazy. But have to do the things you do for
fashion, right?
Being new school and fashion. It's crazy. But the new stretch pants is. I remember back in the day when we had tight jeans that wasn't stretched. That was like a night. But now it's like
game changing now, right? You can throw leg kicks and all sorts of stuff.
It's so easy to be a professional bike rider at the moment with these pants. It's like
you can wear pads and everything.
Exactly. No, it's perfect. So
awesome.
Its answer is very tight. Yes.
Right, dude. Well, massive thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. We're gonna have to do it again sometime for sure.
Definitely.
In fact, you're in the UK soon. I'll chat to you about that hopefully. After. But yeah.
Yeah. So less injuries in the next cast and just
live.
We can talk exactly how amazing bike riding is. Yeah. I feel like it got a lot of negative, but no.
But no, it's real life, right?
Exactly. people know how amazing and how much I love bike riding. It's just have ups and downs like everything else.
So for anybody for some crazy reason who doesn't follow you, where can people find out more about you? Do you have websites, social media? Just shout them out, and sponsors too. Like any sponsors you want to mention, just go for it.
No, I mean, if people just follow me, Martin Söderström on Instagram. It's confusing. We have the
dots, right?
Yeah. So instead of the O with 2 dots, we do an A and an E. So no, an O and an E. Sorry.
O and an E, yeah.
Yeah. So it's SOEDERSTROEM.
Got you. Okay.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, please like some photo. Then I'll be happy.
All right, dude. Thanks so much for doing this again. Yeah.
Anytime.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Catch you soon.
Definitely.
Peace.
All right.
Bye, dude. Holy smokes. What an awesome guest. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Before we get out of here, let's do some shout outs. Let's see what we got this week. All right, we got at Digby Mandela on Instagram. What's a shout out for the Doghouse Downhill Chores from Carlisle in Cumbria? There you go. We've also got a shout out for Downhill Planet at Downhill Daily, Downhill 24/7, DHB_daily, at Bike Slush, B-Rad. What's up, dude? And that's about it. Oh, hang on. At Downhill Life _ at the end of it. At Downhill _ Freeriders. Guys, thanks so much for your shares this week. It's much appreciated. And that's pretty much it. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed this episode, please head to iTunes, leave a review, drop a quick message to Martin, either in a direct message or on one of his posts, and say that you enjoyed listening, and tell him something that you enjoyed about it. It goes a long way. Head to Pink Bike, join our Fantasy Downhill League. It's the Hook It Podcast, and then the password is podcast. And other than that, thanks for checking in. Don't forget you can follow us. It's at the Hook It Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter is just at Hook It Products. Huge thanks as well to One Free Ride for the music. This track is called So Alive. It's available on iTunes and Spotify, YouTube probably too, so check that out. Help them out. They're a local band from Manchester, and they've provided some soundtracks to some cool films in the past. That's it. Have a great week. If you're going to Gamble film premiere, or if you've well, actually you might have already been and then you listen to this after, but come say hello if not. That's it, folks. Peace out. Have a great rest of your weekend, life. Bye.